When I was a teenager, I lost my father to suicide, and then I fell into addiction and started following in his footsteps without intentionally doing it. That's just, I guess, what I knew from growing up. And, that led into 12 years of addiction.
Welcome to the Downsize Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny. This is a space where we talk about pursuing the best version of ourselves while being vulnerable about the things that have held us back. Every episode, I sit down with people who have faced challenges, setbacks, and moments of rock bottom, and together, we dig into their stories, the struggles, the turning points, the lessons that they've learned along the way. Today, I am joined by Garret Welsh, my buddy. Garret has an incredible story. He's lost over 200 pounds, overcome addiction. He has the most incredible beard on the internet. His journey is about more than transformation. It's about resilience, vulnerability, and creating a better future for him and his wife. Garret, welcome to the Downsize Podcast. How you doing?
I'm blessed to be the first guest.
This is actually the very first episode. Yeah, very first episode. And I thought you were the perfect candidate to have on here. Somebody I've gotten to know Garret a little bit and now in real life, but over the last little bit on the internet. And I like what I see. And
Are you flirting with me already?
I'm hitting on you for sure. I'm hoping you blush. I just want to spend a few minutes and just tell us your story wherever you want to start. Who is Garret and where'd you come from?
So my name is Garret Welsh, and I'm just a normal guy. And to be honest with you, I have always been like the nervous guy. Like, I'm not going to be that person to come up and talk to a random stranger and introduce myself and things like that. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like I've always lacked self-confidence. It's gotten better over the time, but growing up, that's just like always who I was. And I waited for people to come and talk to me. So I grew up in not the greatest household in a way. Without going into too much detail, it was a lot of drugs and alcohol and verbal and physical abuse. When I was a teenager, I lost my father to suicide, and then I fell into addiction and started following in his footsteps without intentionally doing it. That's just, I guess, what I knew from growing up. And, that led into 12 years of addiction. And in 2020, actually during COVID, I decided enough was enough, and it should have been years earlier. But I just woke up after a party one time and I was hurting bad. And I was just like, I can't keep living this way. Like, I'm 26 and I shouldn't be feeling like I'm literally on my deathbed every morning. So I got sober and I went cold turkey. I didn't go to rehab. I didn't go to any AA or anything. It was COVID. So I basically just isolated myself in my house. I threw out all alcohol and I stacked up money for my job because I worked from home at the time. So I literally just rolled over out of bed, worked, ate food, and then didn't do anything for probably the first year. After that first year of sobriety, I didn't realize transfer addiction was a thing. So instead of doing drugs, alcohol, and eating to cure my hangovers, I just put all my focus into food. And I went from being in like the high 380s, 390s for most of my life to like 435, what was last recorded. Because I stepped on a scale and the scale only went up to 400 pounds. I got an error the first time and I felt so discouraged, bro. It was terrible.
There's nothing worse than stepping on a scale and it literally saying, I don't want to tell you how
It's like,
fat you
damn,
are."
get off of me.
Please, God, I can't breathe. Get off
And then
me.
I stepped on it again because I'm like, there ain't no way I'm over 400. Because I was in denial. I'm like, I can't be that fat. You know what I mean? Stepped on it. It was like 435. And I was like, boom, going with that. Because I tried it again right after and I just said error again. I was like, nah, I'm 435. And I wasn't happy after that first year of sobriety. Everybody kept congratulating me and saying how proud they are of me and how proud I should be of myself. But I didn't feel like that at all. I actually was still depressed. I was still sad. I felt like I really didn't accomplish anything. And that was because looking back now, I knew I wanted more for myself. And so basically, no matter how cliche it sounds, after that first year of sobriety, I looked in the mirror and I said, look, if I could dedicate a year to getting healthy, or if I could dedicate a year to getting sober, I could dedicate a year to getting healthy. The time is going to pass either way. So I started small. I made healthier alternatives in the kitchen. I cut out like dairy and was just eating basically like tilapia and veggie and chicken and veg, little amounts of rice, Turns out I wasn't eating enough. So it made sense why I lost like 60 pounds in the first 3 months because, I was losing fat and muscle at the same time. So that's why it was such a drastic weight loss. Once I started understanding macros a little bit more and I started getting more confident in the way I was eating, I understood that I wasn't eating enough. And it was weird to think about because to get to the way I was eating too much, but now I'm eating too little. What is the right amount?
Yep.
And that was what was like a mind fuck for me, to be honest with you.
You just had no idea where to start.
And I remember struggling because I was trying to figure out what macros were. I looked online for literally weeks trying to find out what macros were. And I didn't know it was so simple of just having calories, protein, carbs, and fats.
Yeah. It was just that's what everybody does. It's so complicated right off the bat. And you think you got to do, everything perfectly. But really, you're a perfect example. You just got started.
What's crazy too, I didn't really realize that until I was on Speaking with Ethan Suppley is this was my first attempt at actually losing weight too. I never tried any diets or anything like that either.
How could you call yourself a normal guy when you quit alcohol and drugs cold turkey, and then the first time you lose weight, you lose 220 pounds?
I think it is though, because like honestly, if like that's the thing is I am a normal guy, and if I could show other people that they could do it too, it's really just in the power of your mind. Don't get me wrong. This shit sucks. Going through withdrawals.
Yeah.
Having to deal with finding different ways to find happiness and to face your fears and emotions head on. Shit's not easy, but it's worth it in the end because you only become stronger once you find out who your true character is.
So let's label you as abnormally normal because you're right. There's nothing genetically abnormal about you that you can do things that nobody else can do, but there is something very, very special about you. The fact that you have gone through your experiences and that you're aware enough to figure out how to do this thing. There's so many people who, I say it all the time, there's so many people who go close to hitting rock bottom and they don't hit rock bottom, which is a way worse place than actually just 100%. Hitting it. Because at the bottom, that absolutely changes you. And if you don't get changed by it, you didn't really hit rock bottom. There's still places to go. So it's like, if you just get to the bottom, you don't have the ability to push off. You kind of it's way harder to swim up 100%. To the top. So when this whole idea, I mean, you're a fitness coach and we'll dive into that, but this whole idea of like, everybody's like, you gotta love yourself. You gotta, you really gotta treat yourself with respect or you won't do it. Like, I'm just not a believer in it. And it sounds like your story didn't start that way either. You started for the wrong reasons, did you not?
I didn't start for the wrong reasons, I think. I think I just wanted so bad to live a different life. I literally, I used to cry all the time and play victim of like, why do people have it so much better than me? Why do they get handed this? Why does a 19-year-old have a brand new truck and I can't even afford to go out? Like I was expecting life to just give me things instead of going out and working for it. How do I know that 19-year-old hasn't been working for the last 4 or 5 years and built up the money to save that?
Yeah.
Or their parents were kicking ass and were able to afford that for him. You know what I mean? So it's like I kept thinking that things were just going to be handed to me. And then once I found out that little by little I had to work for what I wanted, it just became like a snowball into positive. And going back on the loving yourself, that kind of goes into like what my old friend, we're not friends anymore, but he used to tell me that I would never find a girl because I couldn't love myself. And I don't think you have to love yourself in order to have somebody accept and love you in a way. I think you just have to start respecting yourself a little bit more each day. And respect looks different to everybody, right? So when I tell my clients like, hey, it's hard to love yourself because we are our own biggest critics. We've been, over the last 20 plus years, we really didn't like who we were. And that's why we're trying to change now. So start by respecting yourself a little bit more each day. By respecting yourself, it means showing up and meal prepping, showing up and going to the gym and working on yourself there, going outside for a walk to clear your mind or something. Literally anything that can show you are worth it in a way. That respect for yourself will start to stack up into confidence. That confidence will start to that confidence will start to stack up into loving yourself.
Well, and love is an action word. Right? We want to use it as a feeling. We want to use it as everything else, but love is very uncomfortable. In fact, I'll almost argue that if love feels natural, it's probably not love. Like if I eat a bowl of ice cream on the couch, I don't think that's self-love.
Yeah.
That's comfort, right? That might make me feel better. But love means what? Love is an action word. It requires to love somebody. It requires you to be uncomfortable. It requires something that's unnatural. Like I want to be a selfish human being all the time. Like naturally, I want to be selfish. Love requires sacrifice. And it sounds like, so when I started my journey at 497 pounds, like I started absolutely with the wrong intentions. I was just pissed off, angry, hated myself. I loved my kids. I loved my wife, but I couldn't stand myself. And so I just started doing things and acting out of love and started doing work on myself, making myself uncomfortable till eventually it started turning. Now I actually love myself. Believe it or not, at this weight, I do. But it didn't start that way. And the same process, I'm sure you can relate to that. Like you didn't get everything right fitness-wise right off the bat. I mean, you're not eating dairy, you're going low carb, you're doing every single thing that now you would completely preach against because it's unsustainable. But it was at least something. It was some sort of action that got you started. So now that you've kind of, overcome that addiction, is that something you had to start battling the mental side of things after the physical? You kind of started building some momentum and seeing some change, right? Because you said you just transfer your addiction from food. Now you're transferring it to the gym and working out and being obsessed with that. Is that something that you have or that you intend on actually, something that you had to actually address?
So one thing that I found out, and this I found in the moment of isolation, is I found out who I truly was, and I had an addictive personality. But I don't think I was addicted to just drugs and alcohol. I think I was addicted to more. And I heard somebody say this a while ago, and it's really stuck with me because when you're addicted to more, you can be literally addicted to anything, right? And so I was addicted to drugs and alcohol because that's all I knew for 12 plus years, right? And so I always wanted more and more of it to try to escape. Once I started once I started drinking, I wanted the drugs, and then I wanted more and more of that. But once I started working on myself and respecting myself a little bit more each day, I wanted more of that. So I think just trying to find out who you truly are and how your personality fits, and then stacking up from there, because the mindset, it's fucking hard to break. Like with my clients, right? Like I work with people who are who I once was, and that's 300, 400, 500 pound men and women sometimes. But, we are trying, I'm going to say this in a different light. So overweight people are the easiest people. I don't want to say easiest. Overweight people are the most simple people to work with, because if they eat right, if they stay consistent and just move a little bit each day, they are going to drop weight fast.
What do you mean? You got to do keto. You have to fast. You have to carnivore. You got to fast. You have intermittent fast. That doesn't make any sense. You have to go and you have to get 23,500 steps a day. You got to do a workout program. Simple. What are you talking about? You sell your clients that they just move more and eat like a moderate amount of food and they'll actually see results? Oh my gosh. No wonder you're so successful. Are you getting any clients?
Just a little bit. But that's the thing too, though, is like, it's true because it is simple. If they stuck with it, if they're consistent, if they continue to eat what fuels them versus what fuels their urges, the weight's going to drop like crazy. But getting and breaking out of that mindset that have led them to the point where they're currently at is the most difficult thing, I think, on this planet. Because like I said earlier, 20, 30 years of eating your trauma away, escaping in any way possible, attaching emotions to food and things like that, we're trying to correct 20 to 30 years of bad behavior in a few years.
Yeah. And sometimes that behavior, a lot of the times, is passed down, right? Like, I'm a big believer in the generational curses, and I believe that whatever generational curse we choose to not fight and we just choose to let destroy us, then we're gift wrapping that to the next generations. And I'm sure I'm sure there's stuff like that came from your lineage that now it gets to you, and you have the opportunity to go what you talked about before. It's like, the guy got a truck, and whether or not his parents gave him to him, that doesn't make a difference in your life. The issue is, okay, I don't have a truck. I do have an eating problem. I am overweight. I had to think about that when I got to, I'm like, I was a bigger guy. When I was 7 years old, it wasn't necessarily my responsibility to know how to eat proper. But when I became conscious of it at 29 years old, it might not be my fault. I might have great excuses, but at the end of the day, there's still excuses, and it's my responsibility now to take the fight, not let it bypass me, because my kids will feel it. So, and so now I want to ask you, like, now as a guy, I mean, you're very open about, you know, you're newly married. You guys, when did you get married? You're only like
we got
6
married
months
in April.
Right? So it's still fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. But the honeymoon phase went quick.
Corey is the absolute goat. Garrett's wife is the absolute goat. Anything technologically, he is the handsome face, and she does all of the
behind the scenes. She does everything.
And you guys are pretty open about you guys wanting to start a family. So what does that do, knowing that there's, you know, some addiction in the past and the generational, and now you've sat there and you've kind of taken up this fight to combat that generational curse? What does it now do, the fact that you're now trying to start a family? Like, does that scare you? Does that get you excited? Like, what are those feelings?
So this is where we get vulnerable. So basically, when I was correcting my behaviors and everything and taking accountability for my drug addictions and all that, I didn't blame it on being passed down. It was my choice, right? It's not a disease, in my opinion. Ism and drug addiction, in my opinion, is not a disease. It's a choice. You can get addicted to it. It changes and alters your brain. Therefore, it becomes an addiction, etc. Overall, it was my choice to hang out with the crowd that I did. It was my choice to go to the parties and drink and forget, to try to escape. I could have found healthier options. So I said to myself, I think right before I met Corey, I was struggling trying to feel accepted in some way, because I couldn't, like, Corey was my first girlfriend and I was her first boyfriend, because I had never had self-confidence to go up and speak with women or anything like that. So I kind of expected them to come to me again, and that didn't happen. So I was just like, you know, maybe I'm just better off single. And then I started getting to the point where I was working on myself. I started gaining a little bit more confidence. And I wrote down in my notes on my phone, my future children will not have to suffer because of my unhealthy habits. And so that writing it down, even just in my notes on my phone, changed the way I thought. I was like, I don't have to fall back into old ways, into what's comfortable. I don't have to do anything except just keep one foot in front of the other. And then when we started trying for a kid and nothing's happening, I was the one, we both got tested, and basically, to sum everything up, my swimmers aren't swimming the way that we want them to. And I actually just got the news. I haven't announced this or anything, but basically I have 0 out of 100 swimmers found. So the only real option is like IVF, IC, or something like that, where they could take it directly from me and then go. Yeah, it's a lot. But the other week, I literally talked with Corey and I said, you know what, like, if I'm the reason that we can't have children, maybe it's just a sign that my genetics shouldn't be passed down, because maybe there is something bad that I am breaking, but maybe it will get passed down to my children without intending to. My family on my dad's side, on my mom's side, is ridden with depression, drugs, alcohol, literally everything under the sun. And my brothers don't drink or do drugs, but I fell into it and I got out. I know that if I do have a child, they can learn from my mistakes, but what if they unintentionally follow in the same path I did, like my father? So having that conversation was fucking hard, bro. And I was just you know what, like, maybe we could do a sperm donor. Maybe we could adopt. And then they won't have my genes, but they could still learn from my mistakes and build a beautiful life for them, and we could still be parents. And then that just, like, wheels on the bus started turning.
I mean, that's a hard thing to have to navigate, right? I'm sure there's a lot of frustration, and I'm sure there's a lot of emotions and grief and mourning and going, okay, now what do we do about not being victims of the card that we were dealt, right? Like, how are you guys navigating that? How do you guys deal with that? Because a lot of times that'll create a lot of frustration, a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. Like, what is your go-to? Is it the gym? Is it, you know, or is it each other? Like, how do you navigate
I think it's
that?
mostly each other. I don't want to say I'm codependent, but since my self-confidence was never there, I kind of need a lot of reassurance. And I think that's okay. Like, as a male and you ask your wife for reassurance, she should be able to reassure you of everything. And that just makes our bond like that much stronger. But when I got the news, I broke down. I was like, all right, cool. I basically, everything that I've worked for to build a beautiful family, to create this beautiful life for myself is for nothing. And I told her, like, she has an out. I said, you know what, if you truly want to have children and you're going to make a beautiful mother and you're a great mother, I don't want to be the reason for that. And she just held me and said, this doesn't change anything. Right there is like when it flipped on me. Yeah, that's when I flipped and I was just like, you know what? And she told me, don't you ever fucking say some shit like that again. I was just like, hey, I had to let you know. Like, that's just something that was on my mind because I didn't realize being told that. And it's like a statistic is being told that you're not able to conceive is just as bad as getting news that you have cancer.
Wow.
And it still hits me at times. Don't get me wrong, but I know that we will be parents no matter how it looks. We will still be able to get the love that we want to give to some child.
Yeah, and if I've learned anything from this, like if I've learned anything from even my own story is like, when I was younger, I went to school. I wanted to be a pastor, so I wanted to pastor 1,000 people, have influence, and the one thing I always thought held me back was my weight. Like I played sports, but I was always the fat kid. And ironically, the very thing that I thought was the thing that disqualifies me, working and getting over that and fighting against that is actually the thing that has magnified my influence times 100. Like I'm sitting here going, hey, I want to, really, really impact, a couple dozen people, a couple hundred people. And our stories are impacting hundreds of thousands, millions of people because we're willing to take a fight on the very thing that we thought disqualified us. So like in your situation, like it would almost not be like you're not taking the quote unquote path that is, that a lot of people do and a lot of people have, are able to conceive, but it's something that you fight for it, which is just the theme of your life anyway. Right? Like I know that, that doesn't make it easy, but it's like you will be able to use that story and that, that struggle to really impact so many people that you had no idea would even be impacted
100%.
by that. Other people that are dealing with it the same way you do. And other people just are quiet. You have this platform now, where you have the ability to be vulnerable. You know how many people struggle with this? And
that's exactly why I started sharing it. Like I made the video talking about my fertility issues and taking accountability of like, hey, it could be my TRT, it could be my past with drugs and alcohol, it could just be my genetics, right? We don't know because there's no previous testing from back then and it's really hard to like defer that. But I basically was like not wanting to share it. But then I thought in my head, I have this platform. I know there's women who talk about their fertility issues, but I never see anybody that's a man talk about theirs. And I want to be the voice for people who can't, who aren't willing to share and are rather sitting in silence and trying to deal with it. Because I used to look at reels, I used to scroll looking for motivation, trying to search for something to tell that I'm not alone. That's what I used to do. And so now that I'm kind of that influence, it's surreal sometimes. And I kind of use my platform as like a video diary in a way, because if I look back at it when we do have children and 8 to 10 years later, I'm like, this is what I struggled with, learn from my mistakes and do twice as good as me. It's going to be fucking life-changing for them.
100%. And when little Johnny is born, because you'll name him after your favorite internet friend. Running. Yeah, Johnny running. Yeah, especially if he's fast. Dude, I hope he beats you in a race. I still can't believe you loose skinned that video. You slow mode the video of us running with all our loose skin everywhere. But when little Lorne, which is Garrett's middle name, when he comes, that'll be something for you to really just through that testimony of that really share to people, because there's so many people that struggle and there's so many people that are silent about it. And as men, we've obviously been conditioned that anytime you talk about a vulnerability that you're weak, and we're supposed to just man up and keep doing what we're doing and just take everything on the chin, when in reality, there's nothing more weak than being scared to be vulnerable, right? It's just a sign of strength. And obviously as you emulate that so well. It's also, talk to me about, it's also a skill. Like, does it not get easier the more you talk and the more you're vulnerable? does it not almost make you feel like you want to do it more?
It does, to be honest with you. Like, I have a whiteboard right in front of me with content ideas, and there's like 20 different things written down. I could just go off the top of the first 3 and think in my head of what I'm going to say. When before, I'm like, shit, what do I talk about today? You know, like being vulnerable and opening up is a superpower in a way, because we are conditioned as males growing up that it's strong to stay silent, but it's not, right? And once you have that stepping stone of becoming vulnerable, it just gets better from there. You're not going to hear somebody say, I opened up to my friend and he told me to kick rocks. You know, if my friend, even if I don't talk to him that much, if he opened up to me and was like, dude, I'm struggling with this, I'll be like, all right, talk to me a little bit more, you know, like people.
And if he doesn't, that's a vetting process of going like, okay, you can be a close friend and be an awful friend. Like the quality, like there's a lot of people in my life, friendships that I've had that I've looked over the past years and been like, they might've been incredibly close, but they were terrible quality friends. And I was a terrible quality friend at times as well. Too. But any real friend, to your, like we were saying, any real friend is going to want you to lean into that.
That was the biggest thing for me. And even just speaking in general it's not my strong suit. Like, I was actually going to make a video about this because I get nervous. I stutter. As you can tell, I don't use big words. I cuss a lot, and I'm just,
Let it out.
Like,
I'm gonna have to change the G rating to a PG rating on this podcast.
And that's just me.
Be real.
Right? And I don't try to put on some fake facade and try to be something I'm not. I'm just authentically me. This year I think it was October of last year, actually, right after the summer shredding show I did, I started telling my story a little bit more, because I shared the transformation and I put words over it to show the transformation. But I needed to get more comfortable explaining my transformation, what I'm going through, why I'm going through it, how I got through it, and things like that, to help people understand and grasp onto my story a little bit more.
Well, and if you're anything like me, the transformation inside of you is far greater than the one that people see, right? And so, and I'm sure with a ton of that, you had to transform, and obviously it was a process. How much did you have to shed the old life, the friends, the people, like how much did you just run away from that? Or were you able to kind of navigate that, grow, while also kind of still being tied into that? Because I think a lot of people, they want to change so bad, but they're just so scared that their friends will be mad. Like I got a buddy I was talking to, I just don't want to let anybody down. It's like, if they're let down because you want to become the greatest version of yourself, then you might need to vet the 100%. Friendship there.
I've lost pretty much 80% of my friends that I thought were friends. And it was really just because we partied together and we did drugs together. My biggest advice to people out there is to get out of the hometown you grew up in. Truly learn to live a little bit more free. Because I grew up in San Diego, and honestly, it wasn't my choice to move to Arizona. I was living with my grandpa at the time, and my grandma had just passed, and he's like, look, I can't really take care of you. I couldn't hold a job. And he's like, you could go live with your mom in Arizona or somewhere else, but you can't live here anymore. And he did out of love, right? It wasn't like, get the fuck out of my house. It was more like, I just can't support you. Like, you're a grown man now. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'll go to Arizona and try to change my life. I went there. I had no friends. I literally, maybe within the 4-year time span, got 2 friends there.
Yeah, how do you make friends as an adult?
I went to the bar and I just hung out with old people. And I think that's where, like, I still found myself in a way and understood myself and figured out, that it's okay to not be okay most of the time. But I just had to keep moving forward no matter what.
So you had to get out of proximity of the people that are bringing you down.
I still talk to 3 or 4 people from back home, but it's like, are they going to fly out to Georgia to see me? Probably not. Am I going to fly out to San Diego to see them for Thanksgiving? Probably not. But when we see each other, it's kind of like no time has passed, right? And that's when I know I have a true friendship with them, because we don't have to go to the bars together. We could just chill at their house and relax and have fun.
Yeah, and there's people who are just like, you catch up, you do really. I have friends like this, and but there's other people who are just in your intimate circle who get to be part of your day-to-day life, who are in proximity to you, and those are the people that kind of challenge you and help you. And I like to call them be a mirror, right? The idea is obviously that they would see things that we can't see in ourselves. It doesn't mean you devalue any of the other people. It doesn't mean you don't want to grab drinks. It just means that you invest in things that, you know, in those people that are really in that inner circle, because as you know, like you could, a lot of times when I was eating terrible food, like it wasn't because of a lack of having good food around me. It was just, I was so full of eating 4 Whoppers that there was no room
Whoppers
to
are
eat
fire,
veggies
though.
or steak or absolutely. And I'm going to have to 100% ask is like, and I'll get to that in a minute, but, so what do you think is kind of the most surprising part of the journey of you being vulnerable online? Like, I'm sure you get a ton of hate. I mean, your comment section is riddled with endless content opportunities for you to take a screenshot.
Yes, it is.
I'm pretty sure your video just went like, I don't know how many million views in the last 10 million views. I think I saw today in a video that's like a week old of like, this is what my haters look like.
Oh, that one's at like 13 million now.
Which is absolutely insane. And people online just have there's no accountability online. You can say whatever you want in, you know, when we grew up, if you said something on the playground, like there's a risk that you're getting punched in the mouth. Like that's not happening anymore, right? You can say whatever you want online, but like, so what has the response been? Have you noticed the response difference from Garret, who was posting his transformation to looking shredded and jacked and tanned on the stage, and to now you're kind of growing into this person who's like, let me talk about not being this perfect guy who's got everything together and being vulnerable at the struggles I'm currently in, not necessarily the ones that I've completely gone over now.
So with that, to be honest with you, there's more positivity than there is hate. If you look on my posts, there's maybe, depends which post, but there's maybe like on a normal one, 10 hate comments versus 80 positive ones. And so a lot of people will always focus on those negative ones. But I grew up hating myself that I used to say so much wrong shit to myself and be so hurtful to myself. Like something that somebody's going to say, like, oh, you should go kill yourself. I'm like, that's all you got?
Yeah. Like at least be better than
100%.
me.
And so like, I just laugh at those comments. Like I literally show them to my wife and she just starts dying because she understands like, it's okay. Like I used to be hard on myself and it's okay to accept that because I used to use it in the beginning. I kind of used it to like push myself out of that comfort zone, but like there's so much hate online. I try to be the spark of positivity. So like I'll screenshot the comments that are hateful and I'll put it as an overlay onto a positive reel. And then I'll say in the comments or I'll say in the caption, like, you know, people say this shit because it's a reflection of themselves, not because of who I am or anything like that. And it just helps people understand that no matter what you post, you're a target. People are going to fucking come after you, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
I posted me on stage at Summer Shredding and people were saying, you don't deserve to be on a bodybuilding stage. I'm like, it's a fucking transformation show, you idiot.
Yeah, literally that's what it is.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think it's funny because to be honest with you, none of these people are going to say it to my face. Not one bit.
And what you said, like I say that all the time, people like I have even other creators who ask like, how do you deal with the hate comments? I just can't read them. I'm like, first of all, I read them as an exercise, right? Because the worse they get, the more it's like, okay, when you break down, like when you break down the words, it's like you're saying that because it's more a reflection on you than it is on me. And you're hurting and you're broken. And so when I look at that, I'm like, if I were to say that, what would I be saying that out of? I would be saying that to try to make myself, you know, feel better about, you know, how I'm not really happy about what's going on in my life. So I'm going to say something to try to derail somebody else. And it's always the weasels. It's not even like it's one thing if I had like, you know, IFBB Pro, like I have the funniest picture on my phone. It's like this guy went back to like 7 different videos and he's like trying to say the most outlandish comment to see if he can get me to react. And, you know, he's like, his picture is him flexing like this, not showing his face, guy in a stringer, you know, he's probably 170 pounds soaking wet. The direct comment on top of it is like a guy with 750,000 followers, IFBB Pro, who's like, bro, this is so cool. You're killing it. You're crushing it. You're doing so well. And like the people that are the elites, and I've learned that with running, the better the person is at being an elite runner, bodybuilder, they're way more encouraging. It's always the people who are doing
You'll
nothing
never see anybody doing better than you talking shit on you. And if you do, they're not doing better than you.
Absolutely. So it's almost like this thing, like I'm willing to take the insults for the kid, you know, that in elementary school right now, that's like, that is getting called half as bad names as me and just doesn't know what to do with it. Like I have my whole life, 32 years old, has been a training ground for, I've said way worse things to myself. I've hated myself way more than you ever could. And so now it's like, I welcome it. And actually, I just would rather it be
like
funny.
make me laugh at least.
Like, oh, you're fat. Yeah, I know. Like, if you have eyes, you can see that I'm fat. Like, and really, it's worse for them because you can't see.
Yeah.
Everyone has something. Everyone's got some dirty, dark secret. Mine is out in the open. I'm fat. Like, cool. Yours is you're addicted to watching, Secret Housewives, and you're a 34-year-old man and you sit there and binge eat. You got a six pack, but you binge eat Ben and Jerry's and watch reality TV. Like, that's much worse.
I got one the other day that actually made me laugh. It was, which was a shocker. He goes, "You look like every other American."
Well, I am
but
American.
I was dying. I was like, yeah, that's a good one. I got a screenshot.
But it's at least it's entertaining.
And that's the thing too, is like people always focus on the negativity rather than the positivity, no matter how little the negativity is. I don't know why they always just hyper focus on that. Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, you could say 15, there can be 15 positive comments and then the one negative, and it's like it derails.
But it doesn't for us. So I'm trying to understand, like, for somebody who it does, like, what would their mindset look like to have that flip the script so quick?
Well, you have to sit there and like process what's actually going on, not what you necessarily feel. So if like I did that, I talked about this yesterday where I was having a tough day in almost every way, and I was like, this is the cheat code. I actually just started narrating what's actually happening, not what I feel or perceive about what's happening. So like, oh yeah, I'm in pain. I'm struggling on this run. My life, I'm never gonna run my next marathon. I'm gonna fail. And then I'm like, why don't I just narrate it? So it's a beautiful day. I'm walking in a super safe neighborhood that I live in. My wife and kids are literally at my house right now. I'm in pain, but I used to be 500 pounds, which was a much bigger pain. You start talking facts about what's happening, and it's like the day's not so bad when you think about it that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have gone through what more pain than most people will go through in their whole life. And I'm a firm believer in don't waste pain. But it's like, at the end of the day, you have a wife. There's people who don't have that. You have the ability on social media to interact with many people. You have loose skin, but it's also now the responsibility to now help other people. And I'm sure you get crazy messages like I do where people, put us on this pedestal and we're like, we're just normal people. But it's like, hey, I got out today and I exercised for the first time in a year or 2 years or 5 years.
Yeah.
I get those messages all the time. And like, I've been dealing with depression, but I got outside for a 3-minute walk. And I'm just like, something that my dumb self posted. And if I would have let the inner voice win and not posted that and been insecure about that, it wouldn't have affected that person in a positive way. That's halfway around the world, who I will never see again, probably never talk to again, probably doesn't even know I exist, outside of that one reel that they watched.
And that's what's crazy too, is like I tell my clients all the time, is like every time I post on social media, I'm not just inspiring the people that react to it or that comment on it. I scroll on social media and I don't like stuff. I don't reshare stuff, and I still gain some value from that. So being able to understand that no matter what you post, as long as it has the intentions to bring value to people, somebody is going to connect with that around the world.
Yeah. So what would you tell, you're talking to Garret at 436
Yeah, 435.
Oh, it's close. 135 pounds. And they don't have the same, okay, I'm changing my life tomorrow. They're stuck and they have no idea. They're victimized. What's the very first thing you're saying to that person?
Quit being a bitch.
You can look right directly at the camera. Say it right to them.
Like, no, I'm being honest though. It's like I used to play victim, and like I used to cry why things would not happen, and all I had to do was literally step outside. We all know what to do. We keep using the excuse that we don't know how to start. We don't know where to start. It's very cliche, but it's true. Eat a little bit less, eat a little bit cleaner, and move a little bit more. If you are having a balanced meal of protein, veg, and some carb, and then you go for a 5 to 10 minute walk, you're doing better than you were yesterday. So all I would say to myself, but that's also because I'm hard on myself sometimes, is don't be a bitch. Because, dude, it's hard to explain it sometimes, but I feel like somebody just needed to tell me straight up, like, you will make it. but you have to give yourself some effort. And I feel like the people who listen to those like David Goggins videos are trying to gain that they're trying to gain some sort of direction from that. But in reality is you have to understand that you are going to save yourself. You need to give yourself some sort of effort and put one foot in front of the other and then just stick with it. That's all.
Yeah. Well, that's the key, right? Like you keep jumping from yo-yo diet to yo-yo diet. Literally, almost anything works. Almost anything will get you to get to your goals. You just have to stick to it. And that's obviously like you're a coach, you do this for a living. That's where your value comes in. People, like I know this, but most people don't realize your value doesn't even come in. You're not really teaching anybody anything. You're providing accountability, because when you go and if people usually go like, oh, where do I start? I'm like, start by telling someone. Secrets, addiction, struggle thrives in the darkness. The second you turn the lights on, the second you tell somebody, hey, I need you to hold me accountable. And then if you start talking trash to them when they hold you accountable, it's like, bro, remember, you asked for this. Like I've had that, like running coach sent me, I'm hitting a new PR and he's like, just remember, you asked for this. You're going to feel those feelings. You're going to feel upset. You're going to feel like you want to quit. You're going to feel hopeless. The doubt's going to set in, but just remember, you asked for this. This feeling will come. And I think most of the time people just don't realize, people don't realize this is a dogfight. Yeah. This is a boxing match. But then they are very surprised when a punch comes. It's like, you will get hit. You will feel fear. You will feel inadequate. It is coming. And if you think you're never going to get punched in a heavyweight boxing match, then you're delusional. What you have to do is A, learn how to take a punch. B, get a good corner man who's going to tell you, this is where the punches are coming. This is how you fight them, right? If you don't have that, you're not setting yourself up for success, because your willpower will not win 1000%. Most of the time. Like people always like, oh, it's motivation. You will not. The only way you win is setting up a system that when it relies on your willpower to win and to stack wins, then you're going to fail. So set up that system that it doesn't matter if you have willpower or not. The system is in place to do that, whether that's accountability, whether that's not having certain foods in the house, whether that's having somebody who goes in. But the second you start hiding, I mean, you were over 400-pound guy. We are master manipulators, master liars. That's how we got that. We lied to ourselves, lied to everybody.
I used to ask my friends, am I fat or like gross fat? And they would be like, you're fat. I'm like, it's not that bad.
Yeah. I had people who told me like, I think you just look more attractive. I think you're one of those guys who just looks better as a big guy. Like, stop it. Stop it. Like you're not, I'm 500 pounds. You're not talking 20 pounds with a little
That's a whole lot of man meat,
You're talking about
dude.
Somebody who's, you're talking about not breathing when you're sitting a certain way with your neck. Like that's not just a little extra love. That's not a 100%. Love handle.
And that's why, like, I'm sorry. I was going to say, it's like going to my clients is like, I'm not that type of coach either to like harp on them and, talk to them the way I talk to myself. I help them reframe the way they think of things and the way that they act towards things, because they're already hard on themselves just like I am. So why would I add to that? Right. And be hurtful in a way, but trying to push them. And I tell them straight up how it is, but I'm not using it in a way to kind of discriminate, I think, if that's the right word, and do that. I tell them straight up, like, you know what you did wrong. So how did that make you feel? How did you feel while you were doing that? And they say, oh, I felt like shit. Okay. Well, how did you feel when you went for a walk? It wasn't that bad. If you took that, replaced it with this, and reframed that, you have a better outcome. And they're like, okay, I'll try that next time. And then they take those little steps forward and forward and forward. Rather than those coaches that, you fucked up this weekend, get on your ass and do double the work. No, like, that's just unrealistic.
Yeah, and it really, like, just don't make the same mistake. Don't stack the same mistake
We're
twice
human.
in a row.
Yeah.
Not 2 bad days. Have a bad day, and that's fine, and that happens. And you have a bad day, and you're a guy who's lost 220 pounds. Here's a little secret for you. Johnny goes running, has bad days a lot. Like, I'll go off the rail, right? That's just
I had
reality,
pizza the other day.
right? So what is, and this is a perfect follow-up question, because I've been dying to ask, what is the 430-pound meal? Like, what's the go-to? Because like I put more CEOs in beach houses for Taco Bell than like anybody else. Like per capita, I ate more Taco Bell than probably 17 humans.
Damn.
I was crushing Taco Bell 6, 7, 8, 9 times a week.
So
what was your go-to? What's the meal that you don't want anybody
everybody knew, because growing up in San Diego and the Mexican food out there, bro. So I used to fuck up some California.
It's better than Taco Bell?
100,000 times, bro. No,
Come
I
on.
swear. Like one time we'll go to California and I'll show you. Like the California burritos and the carne asada fries out there are unreal, bro. Yeah, it's a huge plate of fries.
Stole poutine from us
Nobody knows
Canadians.
what poutine is.
What do you mean?
No, but carne asada fries is literally a huge plate of fries with carne asada, guacamole, beans, cheese, and all the goods, bro. And I shit you not, in a styrofoam container, it was packed probably like this thick. And that was some rolled tacos, potato rolled tacos.
Potato rolled tacos. What is that? Is that a regular taco?
Have you not had rolled tacos?
Like where I'm from, we just call them tacos. What's a rolled
like
taco?
A taquito almost?
Like is the tacos already rolled? Oh, okay. I call that makes sense.
The potato ones are like potatoes. It's soft on the inside, and it's just like a soft taquito in a way. Bro, it was bad.
Yeah, mine wasn't that elegant. Mine was, I used to call it the cycle. So somebody's like, oh, you want a cycle? Oh, yeah, I want a cycle. I would go and get my favorite item from like 6 different fast food places. So it's like a Whopper. In Canada, we have these things called fries supremes at Taco Bell. So it's fries with like ground beef, cheese, sour cream. It's like basically a nacho supreme, but with fries instead. Way better. So I'd get that, get McChicken. I would end up doing like Arby's curly fries.
Arby's has bomb fries.
You guys have Cinnabon
we
Delights
have
in the States?
not Cinnabon Delights.
So Taco Bell has Cinnabon
the little
Delights.
ones, huh? Yeah,
like
we got those.
Tiny little one. Yeah, I could at least eat. Like
and that's what sucks is they come in like a 4 and 6
And then
pack.
obviously had to hit a Dairy Queen. Yeah, so you gotta get like.
And then you just seem
packs.
fat because I'm like, can I get 4 of these?
Well, the problem is like that's when I would eat by myself.
Yeah.
Like I would hide that and like, but sometimes like the worst part about it is I would take like my skinny friend and like go eat food like that, and they wouldn't put on any weight, and I'm sitting there like they're matching me Cinnabon Delight for Cinnabon Delight, and I'm just like, why did God make my jean size a 44 and this guy's in a 32 and he's eating the same meal as I am? This is not fair.
My friends used to call me the garbage disposal because I would never have to order food, and I would just finish the rest what they didn't eat. Shit was gas, bro. I'd have like 6 different things.
Well, that's the like I still want, when I eat, I still want like 7 different flavors. Like I'm not, people like I want something sweet, something salty, something savory. Like I want every different flavor at the same time. I think I'm the youngest of 9. We just like Thanksgiving, we just mucked. Like, I think that's what it comes from.
I got a question for you, and I want you to be vulnerable and open on this.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
This is
let me
my
flip the
podcast.
script real quick. So,
okay.
weight loss surgery is a huge thing nowadays, and GLP-1s and everything like that. At your heaviest, did you ever consider getting weight loss surgery or anything like that? And if so, why didn't you?
I never did. So I never did. And mine was out of a direct, like when I started losing weight, I wanted to punish myself. Like I wanted to make it as hard as possible because I found myself almost 500 pounds, torn knee, miserable, didn't want to live. I had beautiful kids at home and a wife, and I didn't want to be here anymore. There was a point I was literally consciously, like I'm not saying on accident, I was consciously eating myself into an early grave at one point. Like I'm like, because for me, there was like a way more honor, I guess, if I exited by eating myself to an early grave than if I did something stupid, and decided that I was gonna exit one evening. So, and that's me being very vulnerable. So I'm just like, I'll just exit this way. I'll eat myself into an early grave. And when I started to really I started for the wrong reasons. That's why I say the wrong reasons. Like I didn't start out of a love for myself. I started out of just a pure, I felt like not a man. I was this meathead, strong. I went to the gym. I played sports, and now I found myself in a completely immobile. I'm a construction worker. I have employees, and I'm like, I feel like a non-man. So that was what I was like, I just want to be a man. I want to validate myself, and that's what I'm gonna do. And I would purposely go and work. End up doing more pain to my knee because I'm trying to push the walking, and I'm trying to still squat at 500 pounds and all that kind of stuff. And because I really just wanted to be like, I'm a firm believer in like, I think people when they're in pain, they want to stay in pain. Like pain is actually comfortable for a lot of people, and people want to stay in their victimization. I remember one of the things that kind of jumped me on a trajectory is we lost our first baby. So we got pregnant, we lost our first baby, and I'm just like, I want to be miserable forever because I don't want to move on from this. And so for me, I was like, I didn't want to do weight loss surgery or anything like that. Number one, in Canada, it takes forever. And then number two is like, I really didn't think I would really change fully till I started hitting like 70 pounds on the scale, like 70 pounds down. And I wanted to just, and that's why, honestly, that's why I started running at 405 pounds. Like running is not the best form of weight loss. Yeah. Like, you know that it's impactful. It's, you know, it's the best form of running a marathon, like training, but my weight loss slowed down a lot. But I just was going there and I said, I wanted something. I started getting obsessed with how can I develop my brain by going the path of hardest resistance. Now, that being said, I'm a believer in weight loss surgery, GLP-1s. If you want to take them because what you're doing is not, you haven't had the ability, you haven't found the recipe to start, you don't have the accountability. And if that's the only way that you're going to save your life by dropping weight, because you get to a point where it's like, hey, you're 35 years old and you weigh 500 pounds. And so you could either take another 15 years and struggle and not do it, or you could jump on this GLP-1 or the weight loss surgery and get to a point where like you can be in a relatively, healthy body in 3, 4 years. And then if you develop those habits along the way, then that's the tool that you want to use. I got no shame for anybody using any tool to do it. For me, if it's going to be something that you're just going to do and then not fix anything and think you can just get away with living your old life, I think anybody that's gotten surgery or used GLP-1 and done that and then gotten heavy again will tell you that it wasn't the greatest 100%. Option. So I'm all for it for somebody who wanted to take it, but for me personally, I never did. I wanted to suffer. I was sick and twisted, needed therapy. I'm this positive guy online, but for a while I was a piece of trash. And I just wanted something that was going to make me suffer. Yeah. I'll be honest.
And that's kind of like how I saw it in a way, because overall I did think about it, but I thought of it as like an easy way out. At my heaviest, I literally said, fuck it. If I just get heavier, I could just get weight loss surgery. And that's just being dead honest what I thought. And I started working on myself and I saw the weight drop. Whether it was right or wrong, the way it was dropping. And it helped see it in a different light for me of like, oh, shit, I could do this on my own.
Yeah.
It just might take a little bit longer, but overall, how I think about it is I got to 435 pounds because I like food. And as long as I can control that, everything else around that is going to double in that. Meaning I'm going to still, like right now, if I wanted to go eat a whole pizza, I could. And breadsticks with a large Diet Coke. Like
that big boy always can come
back. But if I had weight loss surgery, you're restricted to literally how much you can eat before throwing up, and you have to be certain vitamins because you're going to be deficient in it. And these are all things that I didn't know back then. Like I didn't know that my loose skin surgery that I have in February is going to be a lot easier for me than people who have weight loss surgery and get skin surgery. And that's because when we're able to eat. Right. And they're restricted because their stomach is so small. They're restricted to how much they can eat. So they have to be on certain special diets. They have to have more vitamin D and vitamin F.
Which I'm sure hurts recovery, right? When you're not properly feeding your body.
Nutrition is 100% the most important thing in recovery from any major surgery. And because we don't have that weight loss surgery, we could literally sit there, walk around and eat. And the more we eat, the more our body gets those nutrients, the faster we heal. So it only validates my decision of not even getting the weight loss surgery at all either.
And so weight loss surgery for you is February, right?
Well, skin removal, not weight loss.
So you're basically making all the real, skin,
I'm getting gastric sleeve in February.
You're going to shrivel down to 120 pounds. But you're getting weight, so you're trying to milk all the loose skin reels you possibly can.
But it's like, I'm not trying to milk it. I'm trying to do it in a way where I can educate people, because I'm not going to have this loose skin forever. Yeah. But I want to make sure, because I'm 5 months away now. I started posting about it at 10 months. And I want to be the person that you could scroll on their page and be like, okay, this answers that question. This answers that question.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people didn't know, and they get pissed at me that loose skin surgery is not covered under insurance most of the time. And they're like, oh, it should be covered. I'm like, you shouldn't have gotten fat because it's our decision, you know? Like I take accountability for getting as big as I was. So why would I have the insurance cover the loose skin surgery for my mistakes if it's not causing any rashes, any infections where it could lead to something more dangerous at the time? I don't have any of that. It's just cosmetic. It doesn't look the greatest, but it's all I know right now. So it's like, why would I let somebody else pay for that? Taxpayers pay for that. Health insurance pay for that when I did it myself. I did this to myself. I can get myself out of it, which is also why I'm not starting a GoFundMe for mine.
Jeez. It's so, that's the thing. A lot of times we just have to pay, to pay the price for the decisions that we made. And sometimes that comes right away. Sometimes that comes in, body being, in pain when you're over 400 pounds. But sometimes that comes in when you finally change your life. Like, that's what I find frustrating. I'm like, I've changed. Why can't I just be in this body I want now? It's like, these are the consequences of the decisions that I made. Yes, I made these decisions years ago. Yes, I made them decisions, starting 15 years ago. But it's still
you
decisions
made the
that
decisions.
I made. And now I have to pay the price. And I will have, like, there's a plan. You will have a scar forever. And there's nothing you can do about that. But what you can do is you can, first of all, you can tattoo your body, which is my plan. But that's just, if anything, just an example, a testimony of where you've come from.
And I look at myself like in the mirror sometimes and I'm like, fuck. I tell Corey I'm going to come out looking like Frankenstein. But then I look at myself, I'm like, wait, I have creases under my chest. I have creases on my stomach.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have a scar in the same area, but it's going to be flatter. Like I already have the scars. So why am I going to be scared of that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a good way to put it. Yeah, that's crazy. So I want to give you the opportunity because we're getting here close to the end. I could talk to you for hours, but we'll just have to do a follow up episode. Especially after the dark. I know you're a dark humor guy, so we'll probably have to auction off portions of your skin, especially the tattooed parts. But I just want to give you the floor for 1 minute. It's like, is there anything that you want to tell people? What do you want? What's the message? What do you want to tell people?
No matter where you are, no matter how stuck you feel, no matter what you're going through, no matter what addiction you're stuck with, you can always find a way out. You just have to give yourself effort. Give yourself grace, because this is the first time that you're trying to be somebody new. And if it's not, it's your first time trying it in a different way. So give yourself grace. Give yourself effort, but show up for yourself no matter what. I saw a quote that said, even if you fall on your face, you fall forward. And that stuck with me because no matter what we do, no matter how we show up for ourselves, as long as we keep moving forward, no matter if we eat shit and scrape our chin or our nose, no matter what it is, we are falling forward rather than falling backwards into what's comfortable. So embrace the suck, keep showing up, and keep showing effort.
I love that. That's a great place to leave it. So Garret, thank you for being here. It was an honor. Thank you for being open. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being vulnerable. For everybody listening, you can find Garret at Garret Welsh on social media, Instagram primarily, right? Is your main line. Garret coaches. So if you're somebody on Facebook, go Garret coaches. There's somebody who needs a really good coach that's going to come alongside them and show them the blueprint and also keep them accountable. That's your man. And if this conversation spoke to you at all, love it if you subscribe for the Downsize Podcast. This is episode number one. Garret, you were my first, and I will always remember my first. But yeah, if you'll do that, it'll help us grow the community, and really help other people who are trying to downsize their fear and their doubt, and just show up and become vulnerable. I'm your host. Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep showing up, keep showing out, and embrace the suck, as Garret would say.
I appreciate you, Johnny.
Let's go. All right, bro. Appreciate you. Peace.